Answering atheist scientist Forrest Valkai. First off, logical approach is a must and it would necessitate its use in making arguments and counter-arguments. What he did to my block text video is to disprove advanced knowledge by trying to falsify my 3 examples of it, wherein he begun by saying with regards to the Bible mention of law of nature, that even ancient civilizations had built some sort of structures relative to equinox, seasons and other natural phenomena, etc. But wait, what did the Bible say? Ordinances of heaven and earth. Heaven, or the outer space so even transcending to beyond the solar system. So yes, in a way ancient men had ways to sort of determine these phenomena in partial. The thing is, the Bible have spoken in a generalized way, heaven, to mean beyond what men discovered as God said. Isaiah 42:9, Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare, before they spring forth I tell you of them. In here it clearly expressed the thought that what God declared in particular, are not discovered yet prior to the declaration, before they spring forth I tell you of them. Meaning, before there are some sort of discoveries, the Bible have it first. So when the expression ordinances of heaven, these conforms to what is not yet discovered. So what the Bible is saying is that, beyond what men discovered as law of nature there are ordinances of heaven yet undiscovered. So in here, it's fork knowledge. He wasn't giving a possibility but a certification of truth as he said. Psalms 19:7 The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, the testimony of the Lord is sure. What is the point? God was giving a certification that beyond what men discovered prior to the declaration, there are expectedly, ordinances of heaven. So beyond seasons, equinox etc., there are more. It's obviously an advanced knowledge. Note. He wasn't giving a possibility but a certification, verification, certainty. Next, circuit of the sun. He said, the author of the Bible based it on how it appeared that the sun is moving from sunrise to sunset, so basing on it he assertively concludes a circuit of the sun. Let us quote the verse. Psalms 19:6-7, 6, His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. But wait. The verse is clear, from one end of heaven to the other end of it, and this is a sure testimony. Psalms 19:7 The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, the testimony of the Lord is sure. If it's sure then it cannot be the sunrise to sunset apparently circuit, right? It spoke differently than what is assumed by the scientist. It's obviously a predate reality than science, an advanced knowledge. Because what the Bible said is, a circuit from one end of heaven to another end. It's totally different than the apparently sunrise-sunset circuit. How about that? Note. He wasn't giving an assertion but certainly, a certification. Next, circle of the earth. In grammatical essence is not saying the earth is flat circle, so people using it to support their heresy must have to destroy grammar to be correct, because in grammar, obviously it expresses the thought of earth having a circle as opposed to earth as a circle, so using an argument based on grammatical dissonance is quite not helpful to his argument. The stronger argument is, the earth has a circle and it is the imaginary circumferential line across it, and that folks finalize the thought that indeed the Bible has in itself advanced knowledge which for us Christians, manifest the trace of God. Sir Forrest Valkai tried to refute my biblical argument on the biblical phrase circle of the earth in this excerpt. See, circle of the earth. By saying circle of the earth doesn't postulate the earth as circle but rather in the correct sense is that, the earth has a circle. Let's read. Isaiah 40:22 It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. The earth isn't a circle but instead the earth has a circle. This is true as discovered when the first picture of earth was produced. We can see a circle as an imaginary circumferential line across it, yet the biblical testimony predated this modern knowledge. My proof of God. He said, as far as 500 BCE we already knew the shape of the earth to be a sphere. He even quoted a person, apparently a Greek expert, who measured the circumference of the earth. How shall I respond? Simple. We need to employ grammar in comprehending the phrase circle of the earth. Note carefully that circle is singular and that it is simply a two-dimensional circumferential line, so it isn't speaking of the earth as a whole because the earth isn't a two-dimensional circle. It rather means that earth has itself a circle and we can distinguish it from its imaginary circumferential line across the equator or across its middle part, right? So what do I mean? This imaginary circle was unknown even from anyone before the Bible. What the people in ancient time knew, as he claimed to be far as 500 BCE, was regarding shape of the earth. Saying circle of the earth isn't about the shape of the earth but the imaginary circumferential line across it, and particularly for the Greek surveyor who measured the circumference of the earth in 240 BCE is quite delayed, because according to Encyclopaedia Britannica, it says, "The book of Isaiah, comprising 66 chapters, is one of the most profound theological and literarily expressive works in the Bible. Compiled over a period of about 2 centuries, the latter half of the 8th to the latter half of the 6th century BCE, the book of Isaiah is generally divided by scholars into 2, sometimes 3, major sections, which are called First Isaiah, chapters 139, Deutero-Isaiah, chapters 40-55 or 40-66, and, if the second section is subdivided, Trito-Isaiah, chapters 56-66. So the book of Isaiah containing the phrase circle of the earth is complete already on 600 BCE, so it predated the time when the Greek expert measured the earth's circumference. So on this time that Isaiah wrote it, it was yet unknown about the circumference of the earth he called circle of the earth. Nobody knew then of that circumferential line. What they believed then was the round shape, a sort of assumption, but the Bible predated this pseudo-knowledge by a century. On the imaginary circle the prophet Isaiah had intended to convey, obviously, an advanced knowledge, my proof of God.